So I believe that Bitcoin will hit 100k and Ethereum will hit 10k plus. In my opinion, the bullish case for crypto in general has never been stronger. And in this video, I'm going to explain my reasoning and hopefully you'll come to the same conclusion. But before we get into it, please drop a like and subscribe and make sure to follow me on Twitter if you want the spiciest hot crypto market takes. So in 2019, I saw what was happening with CV and saw the market conditions of crypto, and I thought, wow, this is the best time ever to get into crypto. And that's pretty much what I did. I bought Ethereum at 200 bucks and Bitcoin around 6k. I was so certain that things would go up only from that point because I knew governments would screw things up with CV. I knew with absolute certainty, like as sure as the sun would rise tomorrow, that they would screw things up, do inefficient, dumb practices, devalue their currency tremendously, create a bunch of distrust. Lo and behold, that's what happened. Even my critical outlook on where the world economy would be going is really undershooting it. Like what has happened in like the last year has really exceeded my negative expectations. Inflation in USA, it's supposedly the most free country in the world, is 7%. 7%. So that means every person that is living paycheck to paycheck and doesn't have wealth in assets is now 7% poorer. Maybe they'll have a wage increase that is very marginal, but it's not going to be a 7% increase across the board in the last year. No. People are going to get poorer and poorer every year. Average people. And this is the point of inflation. In crypto terms, it's basically a mint exploit that devs use to enrich themselves, give themselves coins, and slowly rug the project. And that is more or less what is happening with the US dollar. That is what the US dollar is. It is a currency with a mint exploit that the devs use. They create a bunch of money out of thin air, give it to themselves and their cadres, and then by the time it comes to a paycheck for the average guy, he realizes the full effects of the inflation. By every sense of the word, it is a wealth transfer from the poor to the elites. And that is what inflation is for. And 7% is a huge freaking deal. In 2019, I thought, 2 to 3% a year was absolutely insane. But now USA has an inflation rate of 7%. And this is compounding. Now, because society is mathematically illiterate, they don't realize that compounding means every year it gets even worse. In terms of the inflation rate of 7%, let's say that continues over the course of a decade, well, that's now about 96% instead of 70% because it compounds from the last year. So in a decade, pretty much the average American will be twice as poor if things continue the way they are. And I believe things will continue the way they are. The establishment even had the gall to come out and blame the president of Russia for the recent high rates of inflation. Like he traveled back in time and infiltrated the Federal Reserve to print a bunch of dollars. Like, it's just absolutely mad. Like, they're not even trying to make sense anymore. The excuse is so terrible. And when people make excuses like that, when they're making such blatant excuses, blaming the president of Russia for USA's inflation, what this really tells you is that things aren't going to change. People only make excuses when they do not want to change something. Had like the United States establishment said, we really screwed up. We've been using inflation to enrich ourselves and our friends, and this is a way that we've been exploiting people, and we are terribly sorry about this. We are going to cut back significantly on the inflation. We're going to fire people responsible and remove them from office. We're going to do a complete overhaul of the way our system works. Then maybe I'd think, okay, these guys will actually change up and inflation won't continue to escalate. But the fact that they're blaming the time-traveling Russian president of being responsible for this inflation shows you they have absolutely no intention of changing up. The case for crypto is stronger than ever. It's really, really hard to justify saving your money in fiat currency anymore. Like it's really hard to justify it. You put your money in a bank, over a year, you're 7% poorer. people aren't just going to be oblivious to this forever. Like, people are catching on. They're starting to really see the impacts of inflation. Even people that, wouldn't normally be privy to economics are actually starting to wake up and think, okay, well, yeah, this is a really bad situation. I need to store my wealth into something because my money, my labor is just evaporating by holding it in fiat currency. Furthermore, we have younger generations such as millennials and zoomers that are coming into money. And one of the most important aspects that doesn't get spoken about enough with crypto is how this is very much dependent on the generation that has money. Right now, it's the boomers that have money. Like, that's just how it is. They're the generation that holds the majority of wealth in society across the world right now. No matter how many of these young crypto millionaires and so on are running around, we're not the majority by any means. But over time, this changes. We get older, we accumulate more money, and the young replace the old, and they bring their new attitude and outlook on life into the world. I think it's fair to say that young people have a higher chance of storing their wealth into cryptocurrency as opposed to gold. The market cap of gold is about 10 trillion. The market cap of cryptocurrency is about 2 trillion. I think the market cap of crypto is going to exceed 10 trillion easy. I think it's very, very simple. I think within the next 4 years it will do that. And as such, Bitcoin 100k, Ethereum 10k, I think that's pretty easy. Young generations are getting older, getting richer, and beginning to replace the old guard. And I look across my peers, I do not see much interest in storing wealth in gold bullion or even real estate. I know a lot of people with money that are around my age, and they don't want to own a home. They want to freaking rent and travel around, and maybe that's just specific to my crypto demographic, but it's definitely true that young people are less interested in holding their wealth in traditional assets. That's just the fact. And getting into crypto before this horde of new people come into crypto, I think is the most important decision you can make in your life. So there's a number of things going on. First of all, there is an increase in tyranny from governments and corporations and so on that people want to escape from, and rightfully so, right? The amount of money you get in interest from a bank is absolutely pathetic. It's very deceptive too. They'll advertise a savings account which gives some of them, I'm not joking, give 0.1% a year to their customers for holding dollars in their account. Some banks, that's what they offer, 0.1% a year, and they call this a savings account. And they never disclose to people the fact that inflation is 7%. So they're basically lying about it being a savings account. It's a losing account. The whole traditional finance racket is just absolutely terrible, and more people are wisening up to this. So this adds more to the appeal of crypto in general. And there's also the generational factor. Younger people are coming into money, more interested in putting their money into crypto. It's just there's so many pieces coming together that it's really hard for me to be bearish on crypto in the long run. All the reasons that I got into crypto in 2019 have basically been reaffirmed. I think there is tremendous upside to the crypto market in general. The fact that we had not even passed the market cap of gold, I think is kind of crazy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe for more.